What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video. Um, Hopefully, y'all don't hear my microphone too loud. Let me know if it's scratching or anything. But I just wanted to do a quick video. So shout out to Dennis Sperling. I mean, y'all already know I already shout him out. I was on this panel for a hot second. You know, trying to be on my best behavior because Anyway, I'm gonna put the link on the video in my community tab. Definitely hit him up with a Cash App. I'll put that in the post as well. Definitely let him know you see him. Definitely let him know you appreciate what he's doing, and definitely subscribe to his channel. I mean, if you can't Cash App, you definitely subscribe. And I just wanted to give some after comments on what I heard. What's up, Pharaoh? What's up, God? What's up? So, y'all see the title. Some conversations can't be civil, and some of them can't be. And I'm gonna tell you why. And obviously, so basically, Dennis Sperling did a video. He just got done with a stream in which he wanted to. I guess somebody came to his page, talking. Let's say a little greasy. Let's say that because it wasn't that big of a deal, but he took it as an opportunity in order to do a video with a guy that disagreed with a lot of the stances that typically black men in this space typically take, right? And basically basic standards that we take. And he wanted to show an example of black men can disagree without being disagreeable. And in most cases, you can be. And I'm not going to say this is a case where you can't be. But what I am going to say is there is a place to be disagreeable. And this is why I'm going to say why it's that way. What I would ask even the dude that was in that disagreed, I would ask him this question. I didn't get time because obviously, I'm trying to be on my best behavior. He doesn't have a lot of time. Obviously, you know how I can be. End of story. I would ask him this. So if we were going to have a conversation about hitting women, and I were to tell you all of the cultures that hitting women is legal, it happens, and there is not the same social consequences. Cultures that you don't know about, cultures that you're not in, cultures that you don't have an opinion on, cultures that a lot of cultures do things that we don't agree with necessarily, But at the end of the day, that's not your culture, and you can have an opinion on it. But the reality of the situation is, I can play the who are you to judge somebody's card because some people can say all countries abortion is not legal. So most countries, people are cultured that if you abort a child, you're murdering that child. So which one would you agree with more? Do you agree with murdering of a child, or do you agree with smacking a chick that's out of line? Now here's the thing: do you think that most men, regardless of him or anyone else, would want to have a civil a civil conversation about that? No, they're going to be triggered. They're going to be upset, and rightfully so, because they're going to say, you don't hit women. I don't care how you want to paint it. Or if you talk about underage shit, even though there's an argument that in the United States of America, we know what the laws were, we know what the ages are in a lot of these states, the ages of consent. And a lawyer might be able to have say statement of facts, but everybody's not trained in law. So most people are not going to have a civil conversation about that. They're not going to have it. Doesn't matter that the fact that the R. Kelly is somehow still allowed. R. Kelly was allowed to make music because women. It doesn't matter. You can't have that conversation. That's a no-go. There's certain conversations that the culture or the society has deemed you can't talk about. I mean, hell, the way they talk about it right now, they want to say if you talk about you don't agree that a woman, they trying to make it so if you don't agree that if a man tries to turn to a woman, that's still a man. They trying to make that so you can't talk about that and call you a whole sorts of names like homophobic and stuff like that. The point is what is allowed to be said and allowed to be stated is the culture that usually decides that. And it's not about, and they may try to say it's right or it's righteous that as like a pretext to make something like that. Just like how, technically, when you look at slavery, we celebrate forefathers that had slaves. So apparently slavery was this horrible thing, but it happened. You see what I'm saying? So once you get past the morality of it and you just look at things as they are, then you kind of understand something. My point to it is this. When people talk about what we deal with in the community and what black men go through in the community, what you're usually dealing with a guy like that, and I said it on the panel, I said that we're living in two different realities. You have a world that you live in, and I have a world that I live in. And I'm not saying that he's delusional. I'm just saying that, like, for instance, let me give you an example. You know, if you've been overseas, which he has, everything don't work just like the United States. You know, for instance, let's take something that all of us as Americans can gravitate towards. We have plumbing. Everywhere does not have plumbing. And for us to not have it's a reality shock, right? We can't, it's hard to understand not having that. Not having it. It's hard. Like, people can try to act like they can imagine it, but the truth is, you can't unless you actually been there, right? Maybe some people can because, you know, if you work in construction, you got outhouses, all of that. But my point is, people like to act like they can imagine things, but you can't all the time. So there's a certain reality there. Having electricity that doesn't go out every day, there's a certain reality there. And certain things are a little bit easier to understand than others, but it's there. And so what happens is, you know, and you can tell in like what he was saying. And I like I said, go check out the video. He was saying, well, we always blame the women, but never blame the men. What reality do you live in that the women are always being blamed, but the men are? First of all, most of the time when I hear that, it's in regarding to single mothers. Yes, women have it's their body, their choice. That's what I was raised with. Abortion was made to be illegal in 1973. My mother was 12 years old when that happened. So I was born with all of that there and settled. So I was raised, it was a woman's body, her choice. A man should not even question a woman's ability or a woman's right to have an abortion or not. It's not up for him to be an opinion. So people raised that way would therefore say, if you choose to keep the kid, that's your choice. If you choose to abort the kid, that's your choice. Depending on where that man may fall when it comes to his beliefs or the situation, they could come any which way with that. So my point is, it's still her choice. But yet you want to call it a 50-50 situation. Well, because he needs to be 50-50 responsible. That all of those things are codes for people to find ways of saying it. The man needs to just deal with whatever the woman does. I would also ask, do you believe that women are equal to men? He would say yes. You can't. Because you can't believe that women are equal to men, that but then believe that women shouldn't be accountable or anything, unless really what you're advocating for is what I call feminine supremacy, whereby women's, which is no different than white supremacy, where I'm white and I say so. I'm a woman and I say so. And this is what typically operates in the black community. This goes back to the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is, you have black men that they actually don't see anything wrong with the community as is. And this is the thing that I kind of lost myself in my words when I was on there, and that's on me. But the main thing I really wanted to communicate was telling women what they want to hear is no different, in my opinion, than selling people drugs. It's emotional drugs. Because the truth is, when the weight of all of those input, process, inputs of our actions taken, process is, let's just call the law of variability and the law of cause and effect, and then output are your outcomes, the effect. Cause, game theory, which is the variability, and then outcomes. When those outcomes happen, when she does what she does and she's left with the debt, And mainly the debt is going to be once the wet ass pussy has no value. Because the only reason why women, the two reasons why people, why the society and people tell women what they want to hear. Because they want to fuck them, and because there's money, they want them to spend money on something. This is why your commercials are aimed at get them likes up. This is why your commercials, this is on Dennis Sperling's channel. And don't none of you all, Archer, any of y'all go over there wilding out. Give your opinions, and that is what it is. Check out the video, but don't go in there being like white MGTOWs. So, but it was on Dennis Sperling's channel. I will share. It was a stream. He's starting to do more streams. He's starting to be more accessible. So we got to make sure that the big guns come on there. And when I say big guns, I mean people like Green Gorilla, Dr. Tiasan Johnson. I'm talking about people that are bigger than me. BGS Igmore, because he would be better to be on there than I would. So, you know, we definitely want him, you know, making content. I don't care about that he was on TV, because I know he mentioned that, you know, him being on TV and having a voice, and I appreciate that, but I didn't mean that he was on TV as to his credibility. I could care less about him being on TV. What I'm talking, even though that adds to it, but what I'm talking about is the fact of he's an accomplished black man that has dealt with black women, that is actively raising his sons. So we can't say he's not taking care of his responsibility. He's been through these. He's been married, been divorced. He's been through these things. You know, that's what I'm saying. That's the credibility I was talking about. TV, that's fine. But that's what I meant. But you know, I understand he doesn't know me. But anyway, my point is going back to the other point is you are not helping black women by lying to them. You are actually harming them. You are hurting them. And if you want to, and see, here's the funny thing about it. Black men like that dude, I guess his name is Reed, they will say, well, black men need to hold other black men accountable. And when they say that, what they're really saying is we need to do that for the benefit of women. That's why you hear women say that. As if black men are actively hanging out with other black men that really do black women dirty. And even most black women will tell you, the dudes that operate a certain type of way tend to hang in packs. So anyway, long story short is because you don't have the strength of character. I'm not going to sit here and question somebody's man. I'm not doing that because I want to keep it in the spirit of what Dennis was trying to do. Because you don't have the strength of character and the strength of fortitude to stand on what it is. And let me be very clear here. I want to give an example because people will try to make this about gender. Everybody saw that interview with Roland Martin. Now, Roland Martin is a guy that tries to sell himself as he is for the quote-unquote black community. That he is an advocate on CNN or on the news shows is for the black position or the benefit of black people. Yet, when he got in front of Richard Spencer, and Richard Spencer declared, I am a white man, and I am advocating for the white position, and he asked him, what are you? Are you a black man? Roland Martin said, I am a man first. Then he said, I am a Christian second. Or he may have said that like, I'm a Christian, I'm a man. But black didn't enter into it. He blinked. This is someone on his show. And it was just a question. Now look at where Roland Martin is today. Not on the networks because he didn't have credibility. And he didn't have credibility because he basically, you notice a lot of that slide kind of really accelerated after that statement. That's like, to me, the before and after kind of where that the change point. And we obviously know what happened with him and Hillary, which, by the way, Roland Martin not asking Hillary the tough questions because he's afraid of pissing Hillary off, or he's afraid of the consequences. He did not help Hillary because black people did not come out for Hillary as much as they may have otherwise could have, because these questions were never addressed. He could have said, look, I'm going to ask you this, this, and this, and I'm telling you this is what's out here. So it's better to answer them with me. He could have gave her the questions up front. He could have gave her the questions up front, and quite frankly, if he wanted to, he could have gave her suggested answers. He could have did that. I would agree with that, but he could have did that. He chose not even to broach the situation because he believed that he was helping her by just ignoring it. All of these people, like, you know what I'm saying? You say what you want to about Kamala Harris, say what you want to about Joe Biden. They were more prepared to deal with black people because they knew these questions were out. Black men are doing. They are even if they want to say we don't want to do nothing for black men, but they know what the objections are, so they're better prepared to go about how to deal with them, and they understand that there are actual consequences to actually ignoring it. Then, so the people that advocate for these people, it's better they know this stuff than don't. But since we want to be yes people, and that's essentially what I heard Reed doing, was being a yes person. He is emotionally, and when I say emotionally, I mean he's comfortable with everything being the black man's fault. I promise you, I promise you, now, and maybe I'll be proven wrong, but if he's on the page with women blaming women, he is not going to see an issue with that because he kind of said it in his mind. Women get too much of the blame. He kind of low key said it when he was starting to kind of get in his feelings. This is another reason why it's important sometimes to dust stuff up a little bit, because sometimes you have to actually understand what someone thinks. If you're going to be civil, we're not going to get into the heart of what people believe. Usually, especially we know with black people, we don't tend to tell the truth unless we're in an emotionally compromised situation. So when you're upset is when you typically tell the truth. One of my favorite movies, A Few Good Men. This was the example of Jessup. When he threw that Hail Mary and pissed Jessup up, when Jessup didn't have to say anything. He told the truth as what he believed it. And that's how he got what the truth really was. A dude who was a soldier and otherwise a very compromised person. That was based on a true story, by the way. I think that did really happen. And that lawyer is out here in North Carolina, ironically speaking, in a partnership. Shout out to him. He put his career on the line with that. But that's what you have to do. Now, I'm not saying what Dennis should do. Who the fuck am I to tell him what he should do? That's not what I'm talking about. I respect the fact that he's at a, and I'm serious. I mean, I got respect for people like Glenn and the BGS, so this isn't me gassing anybody up. But what I'm saying is he's at a certain level, so there's certain things he has to consider that's different than I got to consider where I'm at and where I'm with my channel and all that. So I completely understand that. But what I'm talking about is, and I'm not saying he said you shouldn't be civil. I'm just saying, my point is I wanted to just say the opposite too. The truth is, when it comes to this space, a lot of people will ask, well, why can't you be civil? Why you gotta be angry? I'm not an angry person. I'm not wilding out, but it's passionate. And the problem is you have people that they really don't want to have the conversation. That's the truth. The truth is they're like the Democrats. Stop talking about reparations and just be quiet and do what I tell you to do. It doesn't, and be like, it's like the Darth Vader shit. I altered the deal, pray I don't alter it further. Yeah, I'm doing interviews. I'm actually about, so yeah, I'll reach out to Mass. I think he's got a good channel, and yeah, I might start going over there, see if I can get some of y'all to go over there, because I got respect to what he's doing over there. Shout out to the Roger Report, who's getting some views. We got Soul Provider on the list, Mass Taggart. It's a couple of other dudes on the list, like Dollar Washer and stuff, because he definitely donates. So I'm actually gonna start making my way around the sphere, doing kind of a tour. I don't know if I'm probably gonna do that next month, because I know I'm glad you said something. I have an interview with Soul Provider Speaks. I want to talk to him about his nerd pill, and I'm gonna bring him over here. So we're gonna have like a double conversation with that. That's on December the 9th. So I got a list of people I actually need to get up with that we need to have some conversations. So yeah. Yeah, Dollar Watts. Like I said, I know you talk about crypto and some finance stuff. So, and you put videos out there. So I definitely want to get you some promotion. Absolutely, because that's what we do over here. But anyway, but like I was saying, you know, and again, and here's the thing too. When you look at the formation of this country, when the Constitution was being written or the Declaration of Independence was being written, those were cutthroat. These are all white men that believe that white men should have the power, white men with land should be able to vote. And women shouldn't, and obviously blacks and slaves shouldn't. These are white men that had cutthroat, brutal. The Constitution almost didn't get made if you understand the history of the arguments that were involved. These are people with very different opinions where the stakes were very big. And even once the Constitution got created, you didn't have the parties you would otherwise have today. You had the Federalists, the Whigs, all of that. And so my point is, a lot of folks, they want a civil conversation because the truth is they want to control what gets said. It's another way of manipulation. Now, that's not always the case. That's not always the case because some people, they do what Taz does and they use emotionality to blow up shit. So it's things on both ways. And civility kind of allows you more to insert facts. So that's absolutely true. So I'm not saying you should never do this. Most of the time you should be civil. But make no mistake, a lot of the stuff that he said, it was very clear that he wasn't learned on what was going on. He didn't really know the facts. He didn't care about the facts, and he actually said he didn't care because he said that doesn't matter. He's more about what he feels. And too many black people care more. Black men can't afford to care about what we feel. We have to look at what it is. That's a woman's privilege to be able to move through the world as to how they feel. And I'm not calling him anything. I'm just saying women are allowed to do that because they're giving concessions to allow them to do that. Men are not. You see these black men, these young black men that have been King Von, MO3, some of these rappers I don't know shit about, I'm not going to lie, but they're getting killed because of, quote unquote, them having a feeling and acting on it. So my overall point, though, is I would love for that dude to talk to BGS. Because BGS is a civil dude. We'll get get it out. It's very clear. And I'd rather him be honest. The issue that I have with him is I don't think he's honest. He's not being honest. He's not being honest. I have a lot more respect for somebody that will say, this is my opinion and stand on that and say, this is my thesis statement. You niggas ain't shit. And a lot of y'all in the manosphere, y'all are not really telling the truth. And I am very sure that you all are just upset, mad, butthurt. And I have no problem having a conversation with any of y'all because if you have a conversation with me, we'll be able to get that out. Because I know I've looked at the information. I have a better understanding of what's going on than you do. And let's let the cards fall where they may. Let's have a conversation. Now, everybody in the manosphere doesn't come to the manosphere for the same way. And we have battles in the manosphere. The manosphere is obviously not a monolith. There's BS in every group, no matter what. It's just a matter of degrees. There's BS in every sector in the manosphere. But that is by far not represented as to what the manosphere is. Perfect example. He said, well, some black women are bitter. It's not some black women. When I hear some, I'm thinking 33% max. Between 20 and 30% when you say some. Meaning that's code for saying it's really not significant enough for you to be making as big of a deal with it. It's like saying, think about it. Only about what? They say like what? 10 he agreed Dennis that about 740,000 black men are incarcerated. And then which is actually trending down. And then when you look at a jail, so even if I say 10% of black men are in jail, which is actually not true, is less than that, maybe like 8, maybe a little bit less than that, that's some. And that's a state. When I say some, that's some. And I can even argue a smaller percentage. It's still too many, but I can say it's some. If I say some black women are single mothers, that's bullshit. If I say I can even say some black women are married because it's not past 33%. But if I say most, that's a lie. Some black men are married. If I say most, that's a lie. I can argue most black adult black men don't have kids because it's more than 50%. Now that'll be disingenuous because most is not, when they say most, I'm thinking about 60, 65%. or higher. Generally, when I say most, that's what I mean. Other than that, I'm going to say about half. So it's behind what we say. And the thing about it is, he wanted to say, and he, man, I don't believe it. I believe that he can find one or two situations where he told a chick, it's your fault about having a kid, but he said it straight up. He said, you know, if I have, because this is where vocabulary matters and words matter, and this is interesting, and this is where it's good. Dennis is a lawyer. It's kind of like, okay, so he said, well, if you have a child, if you knowingly deal with a man that has a kid that has multiple children he doesn't take care of, what percentage of fault does the woman have? She said 50-50. Now, maybe if she didn't know, you can argue that. But if you say she knowingly did that, now here's the thing. Let's go in the background of this. Black women have what I call a Jezebel problem, which means there is no code amongst women that you don't fuck with other black women's men. You see, it be hard. It's not about absolving responsibility from a black man because the society's going to handle that. But access matters. Access matters. So the harder it is to do something. For instance, do you know people do the right thing because you have laws? If you remove the laws, think about it. People were still getting abortions when it was illegal to do so. Can you honestly tell me that access and it being legal hasn't increased abortion? So my point is access of the ability to do something and the lack, therefore, of consequences matters. It matters. And we know this. Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg, rest in peace, it stated the laws are designed to deal with men. The laws are not really created with controlling women in mind. Because women can't really overturn shit as a collective group. It's the men you have to look at. And I understand why she said that. Because women overturn it. So my point is, going back to what Dennis, when he said, Reed said, well, it's still 50% their fault. Okay, so at that point, you don't really believe a woman is really accountable to their womb. Because you're making it seem like, and it speaks to mindset. And at the end of the day, then the world that he wants to create or that he believes should exist based on his mind is really a world in which women are not accountable to their own actions. Not really. You say it, but you don't really believe it. That's like white people saying that racism exists, but we're progressing. But deep down, they very much know what white privilege is. And they don't want it to really go away. I respect the ones that actually say it exists and say they're advocating for that than the ones that want to keep it in the background and be this like, that's kind of like where he's coming from. He knows he's not a dumb dude. He knows what times it is, but he's comfortable with that because that's what he grew up with. Now he wants to say, okay, he wants to talk about how a stepfather disrespected his mother took that. Well, I mean, let's look at why she might have took that. Like, there's a lot of different things going on there. But see, he wants to now make that's the color purple argument is basically what he made. And my problem is you take that stuff and you apply that to other black men in the real world, which makes you biased and you assume that's what dudes are doing. Number one, we're 2 generations past your mother's generation. So you really telling me Xers was the same as as like the silent generation or the boomer generation? You really gonna say with welfare and stuff like that didn't exist? Your mother didn't have the same options Xers or millennials have when it comes to like their ability to control the situation. But see, none of this is ever entered in the equation because at the end of the day, when you're operating from a state of feelings, it usually isn't. Because you're not really interested in wanting to understand the world in a very physical way or a situation in a very physical way. It's like numbers, percentages, what's really going on, macro, micro. It's about how I feel. And see, the problem, and the reason why I wanted to even do a video about this is because that video perfectly in a civil, people not getting their emotions. I probably got the most emotional on that whole panel. That perfectly encapsulates the type of dude that really guards the shit that we deal with. That type of dude is the dude that we really got to debate. Because that's the type of dude that really gives women a lot of buffer in the community. Now, here's the thing. These niggas are not going to be saving these chicks. These niggas are not going to be bailing these chicks out. Not really. All they got for them is a kind word. But in a state where things are going okay, they're going to be the guard. They're like the agents. They're like Agent Smith. They're like those dudes. They're not as strong, but they're like those dudes. And they guard the stuff as what it is. They guard it mainly through their ignorance, but they also guard it through their feelings. And the funny thing about it is Goldie was actually in that video. Goldie was in the chat, and Goldie said, "That's a real man to me." And that tells you everything you need to know too. I appreciate the $2. What's up, Jesse? Hey, Jesse, I gotta hit you up via email. What's up, Game Changer? What's up, Gabe A? I gotta hit you up via email too, Gabe A. I know Gabe was like, "Let me give him my email, man. Better not RBR my ass." No, I don't do that. I'm very I deal with autoresponders all the time, so I'm very respectful of people's emails because I deal with it as a business. So no, you niggas are not on an autoresponder. When I email you, I'm actually typing that shit out. What's up, Michael Warrior? What's up, Jim Rat? Yeah, so anyway, check out what this video is. This is a response to the I was on LAR was on there too. We weren't on there most of the time. We hop blink if you miss it. So anyway, so shout out to Dennis for doing that, because there's risky doing that, to be honest with you. But this is, I'm talking about Dennis Sperling. I'm talking about a video he just got done doing, a live stream he had with a guy. So you all need to go over there and sub to him. He's at like 5,000. I mean, we really need to rail gun him up for real, because I think he, like I said, you already know what time it is. So Dennis, shout out to him. Hit him with the Cash App, because I know he was asking for Cash App. But I mean, all y'all can hit him with a sub. Y'all can. His stuff is stuff that we need to His stuff is very share friendly on Facebook too. So if you're somebody where you're trying to share shit and share manosphere shit from a perspective, it's harder for people to hit. His stuff is good as a good, content curation piece. So definitely you're doing him a favor by doing that. Obviously Archer, obviously Unsunken One. Absolutely, the majority. And what it's seen, and the thing about it is, it's just crazy, man, because the stuff that they say, and the thing, here's the biggest thing. The biggest thing is, people get annoyed by Boyce Watkins, but the thing about Boyce, the thing about Tariq, is these are people you can see their situations. So they put their situations out so we don't have to. And so Dennis is like in that category to me. If you're going to put your situation out there like that, when I say situation, I mean, we know he's a lawyer. We know what he looks like. We know he has property in the DER. He's been very open with his life. That there's value there, because the credibility that comes with that, it can't be. He is a clear high value man. So you cannot be on this, well, high value men don't have these opinions, and high value, oh, you can't get pussy, because we can point to the more dudes that we can point to that understand and talk to what we're talking about, that you can't, that are clear high value. And I'm not trying to, or clear select, he's a select dude. It's very hard to try to knock out what we're saying. That's my main point. Thanks, Tac Man Clan Killer. Dollar Watch. Yeah, man. And that's the power of the manosphere, man. When we got people that are advocating for and Dennis is non-controversial. He's got kids, he ain't a lame, he's been through some shit. So for all you niggas that's got those prerequisites, he's got those prerequisites. He's in law and not as a prosecutor, Roger. I don't think he is. I believe he's a I believe he's a well, that's none of, let him tell that. I know what he is, but let him tell that. But he's not a prosecutor. We can say that. He's got sons. Absolutely, Panther. And so part of that is us going up there acting how we act. See, to me, look, and Dennis is cool with Kevin, but Dennis, I like Dennis because for all y'all that's got something to say about Kevin, look, I'm not trying to tell y'all who to like. Who the fuck am I to tell y'all who to like? I just put people out there. And part of the reason why I give y'all suggestions is Glendon's a suggestion, but he doesn't talk to this as much. And he's not going to, and that's fine. But Dennis kind of, for people that don't want to deal with Glendon or want to deal with Kevin for whatever reason, Dennis is a good example. This out there. So it's something for everybody. Absolutely. Yeah, what's up, LAR? Yeah, LAR. No, I was about to go. I mean, I wasn't about to go off because I can keep my shit under control when I want to. Yeah, right now I'm like making this outside of Publix. I'm about to. They just built this Publix. They just built this new building, so I'm about to check it out. It's under the Publix is a part of it. All right, man. Absolutely. And I saw some of your websites, Jesse, and some of your consultant work. So absolutely. Well, yeah, Jim Rat, people can have that opinion. People have other opinions about Kevin, and that's their right to have it. I screenshotted it, Jesse, and he's doing his part, and he's getting rewarded by his channel, and that's women subscribing to his channel. And at the end of the day, man, we got too many dudes that like, and that's what I'm saying. My thing is, you don't have to agree on what we're saying. I'm not gonna make you agree, but you're gonna be given the facts. The facts are going to be told. Like this prison thing I just said, that needs to be made a meme. That needs to be a meme. The shit about the it ain't even about the single mother rate. It's all of the rates, all of the shit. Fuck, don't get me started on the fucking STD rate. All of the shout out to O'Shea was talking about you chicks be out here tricking too. When you get overseas, when you get mad talking about us, the facts will be told. The facts will be fucking told. That's art. My job is not to change your mind. My job is to get the facts out. That's our job. And our job for you need to disprove these facts. Because the truth is, we're not afraid of facts. Even when we know where black men are, we know only 20% of black men make $50,000 or more. We know only like 3% make like 100 K or more. We know the number, we know what our numbers are, and our numbers are not good. But at the end of the day, ain't nobody advocating necessarily for black women to deal with only black men. My thing is, if black men ain't shit, then you go find somebody to be happy with. But you're gonna stop coming like that crap that black women are being blamed for everything. That shit is not true. And anybody that says that, they're already telegraphing kind of where they are on the subject. But another thing too is we got to get, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm hopping off. We got to get behind what people are saying. The problem, a big problem a lot of times is that people will use words and they mean things that's not necessarily indicative of what they're saying. And it's important to use our listening skills and to dive deep. That's part of why you need to make it civil as well. But sometimes you need to rough them up in order to get them to say how they really feel. Because even when he said it in the panel, when somebody said something to him on in the damn post, he called him, oh, that's why you act like a bitch and this is this. Well, first of all, why are you calling another man a bitch? It doesn't matter what a man says, because the truth is, would you really call another man a bitch to his face? I conduct myself online how I would, if the shit that I say to you on either over this phone, in a live stream or in a chat, you notice how I tend to type how I talk. Any of you all this interacted with me in Messenger, on Instagram, in Facebook Messenger, or even you all that's interacted with me on in chat, I type how I talk, how I type, or I it's the same pattern. It can be in bunches. So I try to interact with people how I would interact with them in real life. I don't try to act a certain way, and then when I see you, I'm gonna switch up because now it's physical consequence. So you got a lot. So my question is, would you call another man a bitch over this shit in real life? And see, that's what we know where the emotions are coming in. And my thing is, Obsidian is all, say what you, for the most part, most of Obsidian's, 95% of Obsidian's conversations are civil. It's not about the civility of it. It's about people. Again, you got to understand, you're dealing with a gynocracy, and most black men are a part of it. Most black men are a part of it. And I think black men kind of still have a hard time understanding that, but most black men are a part of it. Yeah, LAR, you should do it live, man. Yeah, you should do it live. You should do an interview with Dennis. I know Dennis is a busy person, but I mean the thing is that's the beauty of StreamYard. You just hop on the phone, do something for 30 minutes, and it is what it is. I mean, really, we really should be recommending. I mean, I would love for BGS to do. Oh man, this is why. Look, I know. I honestly, people, fuck you, kiss my ass. I don't give a fuck about what you say. Because I understand what y'all gonna say this statement. But this is one of the reasons why I would rather BGS start back up the women's channel. Because the women's channel was like 4 hours on Saturdays and that's it. I'd rather him start, or Fridays, I'd rather him start the women's channel back up. And then this way you can have dudes like Ron Will, Dennis come through. Because see, Dennis is gonna tell the truth. Kevin, Dennis is gonna tell the goddamn truth. He ain't gonna be and the thing about it is, now I want them to say what they gonna say to that. Because Dennis has already demonstrated he'll interview, he'll be on live streams with women. I want to see the same female say some stuff like that. Them to talk about, oh, I'm in law, but I'm having a hard time finding a black man. Well, it's hard to find a black man when you're a prosecutor. When you're locking niggas up, it's hard to find black men. Gay bay. Well, I mean, the problem is I needed to act, I couldn't. It is what it is. But it is what it is. But the thing about it is, when you have dudes that they sit there and they blanket an entire space, number one, they don't care about what black men really think. Because if you actually care what somebody thinks, then you'll take the time to really break down what they're doing. Like actually break down the pathology of what they're talking about, what they're doing, rather than just using epithets and ad hominems and generalities. The problem is you got black men that they really are not aware of what's going on 10 feet past on what the hell. And they want to sit here and try to operate the way their personal social world operates. It's how the whole community operates, whereby the community's burning. These are not the dudes that's going to lead shit. These are dudes that, quite frankly, they don't care. They really don't. They may think they care, but when it comes down to them actually doing what needs to be done and doing the quote unquote righteous thing, they don't care. They really don't. And you can see it in how strong or not strong their position is. Because it was just some stuff that he was saying. Like he was saying, well, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But then it's like, dude, you logically agree with some of this stuff, but it's clearly based on what you did and how you're talking, that emotionally you're not really on the same page with it. And I just wish you just be honest about how you feel and not try to just say you agree with it so it doesn't open doors to communication. At certain place things, he was saying how he felt. And I kind of hit him with a lot of stuff because, quite frankly, I'm not gonna lie, he was like, this shit was getting on my nerves. So it was like it started being like a run-on sentence, a little bit. But the key thing that I said was, look, I said, number one, it takes a certain strength of character in order to be able to actually correct women. The problem is, and let's be clear here, black men are not out here not correcting black men, but correcting women. See, the problem is when dudes talk about this single motherhood rate bullshit and they talk about correcting other men, what they don't want to acknowledge is at the end of the day, dudes shaming a man is not going to stop him from fucking a bitch. Like that fucking a female. There is, like, I don't understand. Like, I don't get how dudes actually believe that that works. If you want to control the men, you have to control access to vagina, which means the women have to be on code, or you have to control the females. And this is where Sharia law comes from. So this idea where the women can just choose, like, if you're a female, like O'Shea just did a video on the Nigerian dude that has got 6 different women pregnant at the same time. They all know about each other. So explain this to me. Explain how it's that. Explain how, unless a man rapes a female, explain to me how 6 different women can knowingly have kids, and you gonna really say, well, it's his responsibility. We know it's his responsibility to take care of the kids, but the truth is she has a greater responsibility of outcomes. I asked this question. This is the question I got from a woman. Do you choose the father for your children? And that the answer to that question tells you everything you need to know about that female. It tells you what that woman thinks, the culture she tends to come from. Because how you answer that, the short answer is yes, you do. And if a woman says yes, but, they're really saying they don't really take responsibility for that. You can't be half pregnant. You either got to take in the world, you either have to take full responsibility on things or take none at all. And the problem in the black community like to operate on this. The truth is we don't hold women responsible for jack shit. We kind of give lip service to it. But the truth is most people don't hold women responsible for that jack shit. No, a woman told me, yeah, the right answer. The right answer to the question is you do choose the father for your children. And I promise you, most non-ADOS women answer it correctly. But black women, it's usually like 75%, 3 out of 4 answer it wrong. And even if they do answer it right, they got to think real long and real hard about it. Because it's a question that it's a question your brain can't, like, you don't know. You don't really know what the right answer is. And even if you answer it right, it's actually a tell the fact it took you that long. Now, not ADOS women will still take a second to answer it. They take maybe like 5-6 seconds. But if it takes longer than that, then they really trying to figure out what the right answer is. So anyway, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Appreciate you all hanging out. I actually, get the likes up as well. Leave your comments as always. But I just wanted to give kind of like my opinions on that. Like I said, it was a great video. Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity coming up on there. But at the end of the day, man, like I said, um, I love how people try to act like, oh, well, I would get on there, but I wouldn't want to get cussed out because they're toxic. That's fear. That's fear. That's fear. If you're willing to talk to a white person about politics and talk to a white person about racism, where you know that they can actually kinetically fuck you up a hell of a lot more indirectly than what black men on YouTube can, then the truth is you just know you ain't as right as you act like you are, and you don't want to get exposed. That's because it's a pathology. And if you notice, we can pathologize what they did. It's the archetype. And it's the same stuff. And this is why a lot of times at a certain age, because you usually ain't going to hear millennials talking like that. So anyway, that's my thought. That's my opinion. I appreciate it. With that being said, this is Ed signing off. Peace.